Hi, my name is Sarah Anteliz, and I'm going to be talking about food deserts and what we can do about them. Um, just going right to the who, the what, and the why. My target population are low income and minority communities in Chicago that are living in food deserts. So there's about 17% of all Chicago residents living in poverty. Most of those percentages are in the south and west sides of the city, and they are overwhelmingly Black and Hispanic. So, as a part of this whole population and this whole issue, we're definitely talking about racial disparities, inequality, and a lot of systemic stuff for why these communities are where they are to begin with. It's estimated at 500,000 people in Chicago live in a food desert, and 29% of those are Latinx communities, 37 are Black communities. A food desert is a term used to describe areas that have limited access to affordable and healthy food. And as we've seen, this is especially evident in the low income and minority neighborhoods and populations. There's a really great organization I came across that was made by this gentleman named Dion, and he's from the Englewood community. And he has created an organization called Dion Chicago Dream. And he's a great example of someone from the community coming into the community to make change. But he defines a food desert as an area with a poverty rate of at least 20%, and it's where at least one third of the population lives more than a mile from a supermarket or grocery store. So transportation is definitely a part of it. I chose this, and I think that this is a worthy cause, because of the code of ethics that we live by. There's social justice involved, service to others, and the dignity and worth of a person. It's pretty much a human right to have access to food, and yet many people are not having that. I also am an educator, and I work with students who live in poverty, and I see firsthand what it's like to eat mostly junk food and be a little kid and how it affects them. I'm also a resident of Illinois and have family in Chicago. I wanted to include that my mom always said that if we don't pay now, we pay later. So while some people don't want to help those in poverty, the truth is that poverty costs all of us. It's 53 billion annual dollars are spent on health issues from chronic disease that comes from not having healthy food. We have a higher risk of behavior and developmental problems in children, which of course is a societal problem. And food insecure families pay 20% more in healthcare costs. So they're also costing the healthcare system due to their inability to have health. Um, this affects people because it increases obesity in children and in adults, which again, it's highest among Black and Hispanic communities. Those in food deserts have a higher risk of heart disease, diabetes, which not only mirrors the food deserts, but also how extreme your poverty is, matches how bad your diabetes is. And then the mental health aspect of food insecurity, not knowing how to provide for your family, being unmotivated, being stigmatized, coming from a lower income level, all of that definitely plays into people's mental health. So how did we get here? In Chicago, over the last couple decades, we've had multiple large grocery stores close down, leave, divest really from communities, while fast food has come in. So it's called the food balance effect, which means that there are communities who are low on fresh food, but have an abundance of available junk food, high fat, high salt, high sugar food. And then the stores that are coming in are not, they're coming in with subsidies and they're coming in because they get a tax break or whatever. They're not a part of the communities, and residents don't shop there for a few reasons. They are anti-gentrification, and they're low quality stores. They're dirty, they're selling poor produce. People don't want to go there. So that's been a part of the problem as well. The interventions that have been tried, mobile meals have been successful for sure, especially if people are able to use their SNAP benefits. Locals farmers markets are also popular, but it's a little less effective because they're still in the higher income areas, even if it's lower, it's still higher on the low end. And so there's still these deserts where even the farmers markets are not coming. And we've also tried to attract grocery stores, chains, all the Jewel, local stores to the Chicago area, but they're not committed to the neighborhoods. And so they end up shutting down, which is actually a bigger hit on the economy and the community that they were in. So I think that the best thing we can do is have community-owned grocery stores or co-ops. The objective of my intervention is to create more community-owned grocery stores across the food desert regions of Chicago. This would not only ensure the nutritional needs would be met, but it would also add to the economic struggles that these communities are going through. It would provide local ownership, there would be buy-in, it would be something people were committed to because it was theirs. And then they couldn't just leave the way other stores have left. Engagement would have to include the specific neighborhoods, community members, local businesses, the city government, investors. But then I think it would have to be really specific to the neighborhood because the Austin neighborhood is going to be different than the Inglewood neighborhood, which is going to be different than Pilsen. So it would need to be specific to the people who live in that neighborhood. There's a lot of unknown information because I don't live in the city. I don't know what the different political tensions are in the neighborhoods. Um, I don't know specifically what assets exist or who the community leaders are. I don't know what the weaknesses are. So there's a lot that if I were to be involved, it would be a huge chapter of learning and taking my cues from those who are already there. Um, some of this stuff I've already gone over. But as I said, community members must be a part of the planning and the development and the ownership of the stores. There has to be not people coming in to save the community, but the community really bolstering themselves up with outside support. Um, I think this is really highly supported by ecological systems theory because the whole environment that people live in affects their lives, and also with a strengths perspective, which emphasizes that people can build on what they already have, and they don't need to be saved. They have the ability to change and challenge the systems themselves. Um, it's been shown that personal investment in the community through these co-ops is actually more successful. Let's see if that's on, I might come back. So this was a study that was done in 2019, looking at the different food projects that happened. And the government projects, they had 5 that were opened and then closed, and then they continue to open them. So there's still a total of 21 here. But only the nonprofit projects and the community projects had no closures over a period of time. I don't remember how long it was, but just proving that the sustainability of a community owned and run project is going to be much higher than somebody who comes in and tries to fix things. There's a lot of available resources. We've got local food systems, local universities, existing co-ops that can already aid new ones. The Chicago government, we have a mayor who was quoted as saying that all Chicagoans deserve access to high quality, local, nourishing, and most importantly, delicious foods. So that was a recent bid to add some more funds to helping with this food desert situation. Challenges, I mean, it would take 4 to 8 years. That's a very long time. Finances, there could be real estate law and red tape and zoning and political blocks and all sorts of things can come up to stop it. But there is evidence that it's been done and that it can be successful. So my persuasive statement here, my community needs statement is: imagine a Chicago where every neighborhood, regardless of economic or racial background, has access to fresh, affordable food. Sadly, many residents currently struggle to put fresh food on the table, leading to serious health issues and cyclical poverty. Our solution? Community-owned grocery stores in these food deserts. Run by locals, these stores ensure everyone has a say and gets the healthy food they need. By supporting us, you're investing in a healthier, more equitable Chicago. Thank you very much. Feel free to ask any questions, and my resources are listed at the end of the presentation. Thanks again.